So I came across a posting on Facebook, and it was a woman asking basically what happened to the Me Too movement. And not only what happened to the Me Too movement, but she was questioning men as to why are they not continuing their role in protecting women from said bad men. And my answer, as I've answered many other people's threads when it comes to questioning men for their poor behavior, is those aren't men. And we have to start differentiating in all demographics the good from the bad. Otherwise, you stereotype an entire people. So when it comes to saying, men protecting other men against other men from being attackers, this and that, I understand that that happens, but what are you honestly asking us to do? Because let's be honest, since the Me Too movement, it's morphed into a newer wave of feminism. And a lot of that has come with, we don't want help. Men are trash. Men are good for nothing. All of you are, not worth being here. All of you, we should do away with all men. So when you yell that sort of rhetoric, or people of your demographic yell that sort of rhetoric, how much help do you expect to get from men? Now, I do draw a hard line, and I've drawn this harsher on men than I have women, but you have to understand that there's a difference between men and males of a legal age, and I call them molas. And same thing with women and females of a legal age, folas, because there's a difference between aging and maturity. And a lot of people are going to say, no, I'm not going to help. And a lot of people still do help. But I have yet to see where the policing of women who were abusing, I remember this, people were abusing the Me Too hashtag for things like, I went out on a date with a guy, I made out with him, and then now I regret it, so I hashtagged him. Me Too. And there were a lot of people that were falling under heavy fire and scrutiny for the concept of believe all women. And that's not a true thing. That's not a real thing to have to administer or adhere to. We have to admit that just like there are bad men, there are some women who will abuse that notion and use that against men. So when you want the Me Too movement to be recognized or asked what happened to it, a lot of it died off because people stopped listening to some of the accusations that were being made towards men. And that's a fair thing because, as I've said on other occasions, false accusations have led to real convictions. And so we have to really be careful with what we're just saying is an okay notion across the board for one group to say it's okay to levy this at another group. I will replace, if she's saying, rape, I'll replace rape with race. Take the P out, put the C in. Is it fair for black people just to accuse all white people of something, or asking, hey, where are the white people, when it comes to, the BLM movement or whatever movement it is, when it comes to advancing the cause for the black community or just minorities in general? Part of your fight has to start with you fighting yourself. And if the Me Too movement hashtag has gone away, it's because it's evolved into something else, like I think it has with feminism as we know it now, or it just fell off because people started to realize, like, wow, this isn't quite the thing that we thought that it was, and a lot of people are misusing it. Same thing with the black community, such as BLM. It's not as strong as prevalent because it has turned into something else, a different sort of movement or a different sort of awareness. And there we've seen where people were abusing that label or that brand to get away with certain behaviors. So we have to look at this and say, you can't question other people until the circle itself that wants the change has the unity and the collective spirit to say, we're going to fight for this, but we need help from other people. It's not just enough to call another group out and say, how come you're still not doing something? Well, if you're questioning that, then shouldn't you question your own group to say, how come we aren't doing something to have them recognize it still, to want to be, as we say, allies? When it comes to the black community, if somebody white is helping out, the term ally has come into play. So if you want allies, you have to be willing to, fight your own battles to begin with. And I say this respectfully. I don't think that it I'm not trying to admonish men for poor behavior when it comes to women along those lines, but we have to recognize that women have abused that position as well to go after men, and it's a very unfair spot to be in, because the weight to believe women is great, far greater than it is to believe men. So while I do not wonder where the Me Too movement went, I do understand why somebody might think that there's not still enough being done by men to protect women. But then again, women also have to allow themselves to be protected without saying we don't need your help, or it has to come at a certain time when we want it, because otherwise we won't know when to help. And that's a huge part of the miscommunication that all groups need to have when it comes to that. Just like when black and white, if somebody white wants to come and help, and we say, well, we don't want your help right now, well, then don't be too upset if white people aren't helping out. So I'm drawing that line because I do find that it is somewhat a line, and it's akin. So there's parallels that we can say that they're very similar. What are your thoughts on this? Do men owe it just to be always out front in front of something like the Me Too movement or feminism or whatever it is that advances women? Or is it for women to take up their own cause to say, look, we need, help from this group, but we have to fight this fight ourselves? What are your thoughts? What's your ace up the sleeve? Advice, comment, experience? Please leave it in the thread. I would love to hear it. And I come at this conversation with a genuine tone. I hope that nothing that I've said sounded offensive. I don't want it to be offensive. And I would say the same thing if it was a talk about race, religion, nationalism. I don't want to offend. I genuinely want to learn and hear from people. So your thoughts would be very appreciated. You can like, even dislike if there's something that hit wrong. And please hit the subscription, share the content with other people who you think might like it. And of course, hit the notification so you get the promptings for all of the material when it drops. So guys, I hope this finds everybody in a place, pursuit, or beginnings of total health, mind, body, and soul. And we will see you soon. I may actually even attach in something that I had gotten from one of a couple coworkers and their thoughts on this very same topic as well. And you can leave your thoughts on that. All right, y'all. So I just had on Facebook somebody make the claim. They're asking the question, basically leaving it at men's feet to keep the Me Too movement alive. Is that our job?
All right, yeah, what the fuck is that?
The Me Too, like the anti-rape, sexual assault. Yes. Yeah, they kind of died off. Like it was a big thing like 2016.
Yeah, then it died off.
Right, the hashtag Me Too.
Sounds familiar.
That's how old it is. Like in our day and age now, like it's one movement, then it's another movement, and it's another movement. But
who's saying who's saying?
There was a woman basically that posted, and she was basically making the claim that, like, where are the men that are supposed to be protecting us from these other men? So is that our job?
It can be. Well, women, you just gotta pick wisely. You need to vet these fuckers these days. Yeah.
Like any women or black women?
Any women. I'm saying
any women. I think she was black though.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Even if she's ugly as fuck.
You will have to protect your women because there's so much women is getting kidnapped and crazy stuff that's happening to them. Like,
and stop fucking.
You know, seeing guys getting kidnapped and
hopping on these dating websites. That's just no go.
So is that on them to protect themselves by vetting? To your point.
First of all, yeah, and then you gotta look at the red flags. Numerous red flags.
As far as like when they're looking at men, or the red flags within themselves?
Not within themselves. With that, it starts with them, period. But it's like with red flags with guys. Like say if they still have a clean record, which they could easily get that shit expunged depending on what it is. Still need to look at the red flags. The first date need to be in the daytime in a public area, and see where the red flags. From them.
Right.
And if you seem cool, the vibe seem cool, you can go out for another date. I'll go out for another date in like daytime, going to the nighttime, not too late. And I will still be in a public area just because
Is that for you as a man to protect yourself, or you're saying that's what women should do?
Both.
Yeah.
For me, I ain't trusting these broads. These broads is crazy as fuck. Plus, most of these broads, I can go all day with this motherfucker. Most of these broads, they always want a fucking free meal. And that's why we don't go on dates no more. Yeah, I fucking said it. No, bro, stay loving you fucking free meals. That's 5-star restaurants. You got me fucked up around here. Exactly why I'm not married. Exactly why I'm single. And I'm a good guy.
I'm not responsible for what other people say. Just so you know, their views do not reflect my views or the views of the channel. That's not what it's about. It's about it's about letting people have their own say, and regardless of what that say might be. So I'd love to hear from you regardless. And we'll go from there. Peace, love, unity, solidarity.